Hi. So, for the record, I don't really like retreading old ground. Once I talk about something, I can probably go back and talk about it on a podcast like RNH, which happens every Thursday night on Twitch, or I can elaborate later in a post-mortem style video. But this is not the channel that's going to have 15 videos about Brie Larson or any of that nonsense. With that being said, there are some interesting developments in the Steam Machine discourse that I would like to elaborate on. In the previous Steam Machine video, I pointed out that Valve should shoot for the $500 to $700 sweet spot, which I personally feel would put the device in a competitive position. But recent events may actually make that price point difficult to pull off. The following is a quote from an excerpt from Linus Tech Tips' discussion with Valve on this matter.
Valve wasn't able to give any specific numbers due to the rapidly evolving market conditions, but they will obviously have it nailed down when the Steam Machine launches in Q1 2026 alongside the new Steam controller. They did offer me one hint, though. They said that while they expect it to be very competitively priced with a PC, it will be priced like a PC, rather than like a console with games subsidizing the upfront hardware purchase. They wouldn't say why, but if I had to guess, I'd say it's partially to avoid stepping on the margin opportunities of their potential partners for Steam games and Steam software, but also because they recognize that the Steam Machine is a full-fledged PC. So there's no guarantee then that, say, a corporate purchase of 10,000 of these things would result in a single game sale. So they really do need to protect the sustainability of their hardware business.
Those rapidly evolving market conditions seem to be the catastrophic rise in price of computer RAM and potentially the price hike of video cards. This is the result of a recent deal between OpenAI, Samsung, and SK Hynix, which resulted in 40% of global RAM being acquired for OpenAI's Stargate initiative. Yes, we are right back to pandemic-era shortages and freak-out speculative pricing, something that will likely hit multiple industries and completely screw over anyone wanting budget-range PCs for months. There is no word currently on if this will actually affect Valve, but going off of some of the things they have said recently, there is a good chance this very well could be a factor.
I think that if you build a PC from parts and get to basically the same level of performance, that's the general price window that we aim to be at, he said. Ideally, we'd be pretty competitive with that and have a pretty good deal. But we're working on refining that as we speak, and right now is just a hard time to have a really good idea of what the price is going to be, because there's a lot of different things that are fluctuating.
When I stated my sweet spot theory, I was attempting to narrow down a price based around the cost of what it took me to build mine and my wife's computers. I managed to find a cost-effective deal from Amazon's motherboard processing bundle and RAM to standard non-modular PSUs, discounted cases, and standard cooling fans from Best Buy. All of the internal parts of my wife's rig, including the motherboard, totaled up to $550 after tax, and I had to spend another $70 for an NZXT case, which of course was smaller than the aquarium-sized NZXT case I got for my own rig. With the price of RAM exponentially rising into $300 and $400 territory, and in some cases even more for the name brand, it is likely going to affect the pricing of this device and also its competitors. Microsoft, according to YouTuber Moore's Law is Dead, states that there are quite a few companies potentially being affected by this RAM shortage, while stating that Sony has surprisingly bought up gobs of RAM as pricing had hit bottom. This move signals that Sony may be in good shape well into the shortage, but we'll see how that plays out. As far as Microsoft is concerned, insiders are warning of another price hike of Xbox hardware to add to the previous price hikes revealed in May and September respectively. But if that happens, be prepared to see another round of angry gamers storming the company's social media presence, and Xbox brass trying to smooth things over for a third time. Things are definitely up in the air across the board, whether you are interested in buying a Steam machine, potentially getting Xbox hardware, or whether you just want to build your own PC. This freaking sucks. And with retailers being told that potential RAM orders could be shipped as early as December of 2026, it's not looking good at all. So, again, how will this affect the Steam machine's price? As of right now, there is no idea until we actually see the price reveal. I still believe that if it falls within the sweet spot, or specifically if it falls within somewhere between the prices of $575, $650, or $699.99, it would be spectacular. But unless somewhere between now and next Christmas the AI tech bubble bursts and the price astronomically drops back down to what we had months ago, it is going to be a relatively tough time for everyone. Thank you, and I will see you next boss fight.